I will specifically be talking about computer science, just briefly. So let me start out talking about the subject. So computer science, those of you who are in a computer science program have been introduced to it in some way, perhaps in high school by programming. But here you'll study it much more generally, computer science as the science of computers, or more generally, the science of computing. And so what that means is not just how the computer works, not just the science of computers, but why does it work that way? What kinds of things can it do? So computing in general. And also the question of what it is not able to do. So I teach a course that covers that subject. You learn about the limitations, and then in many of your, and why there are those limitations. And then in many of those your other courses, you'll learn ways to, of course, work around these limitations and really get to the power of computing, do useful things for individuals, society, and humankind generally. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction to computer science. So now let's get to the logistics. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to have to interrupt. I will come back. It's a good point to interrupt. I'm going to mute myself. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
I suppose I can take over then.
Yes, please, Stefan, please take over.
Hi, I'll start in French. Je suis Stéphane Sommet, je suis le directeur associé du programme de génie logiciel. J'ai le plaisir de vous accueillir dans le programme. Le programme de génie logiciel est à la jonction entre l'informatique que Amy Felty vous a introduit il y a une minute et l'ingénierie. Nous appliquons des approches d'ingénierie pour créer des logiciels de haute qualité pour aider les gens à accomplir donc leurs tâches quotidiennes et la société en général. Vous êtes dans un programme qui est l'une des innovations, dont l'une des innovations est d'être coop obligatoire. Et ceci, c'est une reconnaissance du fait que le génie logiciel demande de l'expérience pratique, de l'expérience pratique qu'on peut acquérir, je dirais, uniquement que sur le marché donc, de l'emploi. Donc, notre programme est coop obligatoire. Il s'agit du premier et du seul programme de ce genre à l'Université d'Ottawa et probablement un des seuls dans tout le Canada. Je ne vais pas parler beaucoup aujourd'hui, c'est juste pour vous accueillir, parce que nous nous retrouverons justement dès ce jeudi à 11h30 pour le cours SEG 2900, un cours qui joue un rôle très important et crucial donc, pour votre préparation à coop. Donc, je vous souhaite donc tous et toutes la bienvenue à l'Université d'Ottawa, la bienvenue à IICS et la bienvenue dans le programme donc, de génie logiciel. Hi, I'm Stéphane Sommet, so I'm the Associate Director of Software Engineering Program. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Software Engineering Program. What is software engineering? Software engineering can be seen as a junction between computer science, where the theory and is developed for computing, and engineering. Engineering has to do with applying good practices to develop high quality products to put into the service of people and the society in general. So in software engineering, we apply these engineering approaches. So we focus the courses and to developing large, useful, high quality software products. One of the innovation of the software engineering program is the fact that it is a mandatory co-op program. This is in recognition of the fact that the real experience for building real software to help real people, you can only gain that on the job, working on with real software developers, building product to help real clients. So software engineering is a co-op mandatory program. It is the first of the kind at Ottawa U, and probably one of the first and only such program in Canada. I won't take too much time at the moment because actually we would be meeting on Thursday, 11:30. You should have got a team meeting invites for that. So we'll be meeting on Teams at 11:30 on Thursday for the software engineering course ACG 2900, which is a key course to prepare you actually for co-op. So welcome again, and see you all on Thursday.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. So I would like to invite the students to type their questions in the chat. You are welcome to type the question in chat, either in French or in English. I would like to ask Jean-Loup to also please read the questions and answer them, especially if they're in French. So we already have a couple of questions. So I will read them. One of them is about the co-op, how co-op will be affected by the COVID. Will the chances of getting a job be smaller? So in fact, the co-op webpage has a whole dedicated, let me try to share a screen so I will show you. Share a screen. If you go to their webpage, they have a dedicated, I hope I'm opening the correct link. I think it's here. So let me try to share a link. Oh, is this my email that you see? That's definitely not the one that I wanted to share. So let me go to the actual, on the co-op webpage, they have a dedicated frequently asked question section for the COVID and what happens and how to deal with co-op in case you cannot find it. This was already addressed a little bit in the initial session with the undergraduate office. The chances to get co-op job may be affected a little bit, but only 3 sessions, work sessions are mandatory, so you can still out of 4. For the computer science students, for the software engineering students, it's probably 4 out of 5. I'm just guessing. Stefan probably knows better. So missing one of the sessions is not going to prevent you from having co-op on mentioned on your degree. But still, co-op office will work with the students. There will still be, the process will be the same, applying for the jobs, interviewing. Many of the students still had the jobs this summer despite of the COVID. They were working from home. So this is still, the chances to get a job, surely they're affected, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible to get a jobs. So they have a dedicated webpage. If you go on a co-op webpage, they have a dedicated page with frequently asked questions related to COVID. If you look on the right of the page, you're going to see frequently asked questions, and underneath that, you're going to see frequently asked questions about COVID. I will ask you one thing, though. Let's see, do we have other questions? How many people are enrolled in software engineering programs? Stefan, you probably know the answer to this question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers, but it's around 120, 125.
All right.
So far, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and coming back to the question about the co-op, again, yeah, this year with COVID, I think we've seen some, there were some problems, obviously some issues, but we were still able to have at least around 80% of the placement, we're still able to have them fulfilled, even with this difficult situation. This is obviously one of the, because let's say we are a little bit lucky in software engineering and in computer science and software engineering in general, that people can more easily work from home. And so a lot of our placements actually ended up being placement from home, where people will log in and do their job. So we hope that, hopefully, obviously, we hope that by the next summer, COVID would be in the past and we'll be back to normal. And in a normal time, we usually have 99 or around 100% placement rates. So, yeah.
Thank you, Stefan. I see it's not easy to read the questions and answer them at the same time. So Jean-Loup or anybody, please feel free to take over when you see some questions that you would like answered. One question that I see repeatedly asked here, and also asked the questions that some of you submitted before, I see a worry from the students about what is the textbooks, what is the grading, where do I find information, where is it going to be? I understand that because many professors, the information is not there yet, because we are used to giving students this information on the first day of school or first day of class, which is tomorrow. So for that reason, let me just show you and repeat even what the undergraduate dean told you. Please make sure and to check your email and check Brightspace right before your first class. So let me show you what that may look like. So let me share. Hopefully this time I'm sharing Google Chrome Remote Labs the correct list. So I logged into the Brightspace of my own Brightspace. So here's what you should see. For me, it's only ITI 1120, and in fact, all of you are taking this course. So let me just show you what you may be seeing, and you will see this if you're in my section. So right now, there is really nothing there, and you may worry where I'm going, except for the tutorial, right? So you can already see a tutorial that we held 2 weeks ago, video recording. But what I encourage you to do is already, by the time we have classes tomorrow, to check the announcements that you see here on the top, but more importantly, for any of your courses, to look at the top and see, is there Zoom, is there Microsoft Teams, is there Adobe Connect, which is going to be your way to connect, to join the classes live. So in my case, if you click on Zoom, you're going to see a schedule of all the classes that we have. For example, tomorrow, Section A is at this time. So when you want to join the live class, just at 11:30, you're going to click on this Zoom link and we're going to have a lecture. After that, I will post the video among if you go back to the course and you go to the content here in the lectures, right now you just have a recording of the tutorial, you're going to find a lecture recording of lecture 1. All this to say that all the information for most of the professors, you are either going to find all the information of the course either right on Brightspace, including right now it's not there, what's the textbook, when are the office hours, all of this is going to appear within the first week of class, or probably even on the first day of class. Or if professors using alternative means such as their own web page, they're most likely are going to send email to all their students telling them, here's the web page, I will put all the material on this web page, and so on. So let's try not to worry. This may be unusual for you that some of the courses you still don't have information, but this in a standard year, this is how it will be. You go first day to class, and in your first class, you find out what the textbook is, what the grading scheme is, and so on. So imagine that that's the way it is, except it's going to be a little bit different this year. So because I see lots of questions about this, I thought I will start with that. So I'm going to unshare the screen. And since I was not looking, let Jean-Loup, if you saw some question that you would like answered, please go ahead.
So there's a question that is coming back both in English and in French about how difficult it is to maintain a GPA of 8, for instance, to be eligible for a co-op. So, I mean, there are lots of students who are in the co-op program and they're having fun and they succeed. So I guess it's a matter of working hard. And if you work hard, you'll be able to maintain this GPA. Now, I see also a question about if I have any tips on about how to deal with time and be successful. So I would say, and this is something I say at the beginning of each semester to my students, it is a matter, I think, of working on a regular basis. If you have, for instance, a course where you have, let's say, 3 hours in class and a 3-hour lab, so a total of 6 hours with the prof, you can approximately count an extra 6 hours you have to spend to study the material. Well, don't do these extra 6 hours on the same day. So try to spread the time you spend on a course over the week. And I think this is a much better use of your time. Maybe I can repeat all that in French. Donc, il y a une question qui revient à propos de la difficulté de maintenir un GPA, une moyenne de 8 pour être éligible au programme coop. Alors, il y a beaucoup d'étudiants dans le programme coop. Le programme est très populaire, puis les étudiants ont du succès. Donc, c'est tout à fait faisable. Je crois que c'est une question de travailler fort et de travailler sur une base régulière. Il y a des gens qui demandent si j'ai des conseils à donner par rapport à la gestion du temps. Alors, le meilleur conseil que je peux donner, et puis c'est un conseil que je donne habituellement au début de chaque session à mes étudiants, c'est de travailler sur une base régulière. Alors, si par exemple, vous avez un cours où vous êtes 3 heures, vous avez 3 heures de cours avec votre professeur, puis vous avez aussi 3 heures de lab, alors au total 6 heures, bon, alors on peut approximativement calculer un extra 6 heures de travail à faire à la maison. Pour travailler le matériel. Alors, ne faites pas vos 6 heures la même journée. Essayez de le répartir pendant la semaine. Je suis convaincu que de travailler sur une base régulière, un peu à la fois, c'est la meilleure approche pour avoir du succès puis pour avoir du plaisir dans votre programme.
Okay, Vida, I see some question on software engineering that maybe I can answer quickly.
Please.
Software engineering student already accepted in co-op. Yes, software engineering student already accepted in co-op. But, and there is a big but here, you still have to maintain a minimum GPA in order to be able to go to go to a co-op work term, okay? So for co-op questions for software engineering and the selection of CSI who have been accepted to the SCG 2900 in order to have the opportunity to take their first co-op job term in this summer, we will be talking about all of this Thursday. But it's important, as I say, that even if you are already in the co-op program, which is a good thing, which is actually a good advantage compared to other programs where you have to qualify, it's important to, first, there are some courses that you have to pass. And second, you have to maintain a minimal GPA at the end of this course, at the end of these first term courses, in order to qualify to interview for the summer. Okay, so this is one of the questions I've seen. Our software engineering students would they be equipped for the summer this first year? Yes, that's that's actually the big point. That's actually the big reason for SCG 2900. Okay, donc le cours SCG 2900, le but c'est de vous préparer. So the goal is to give you the tools such as how to create a resume, how to interview, and get some technical skills in terms of software development, in terms of web development, in terms of teamwork. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm saying that this is a very important course, and this is one of these courses that you have to pass. Okay, if you don't pass this course, you won't be able to go to your first co-op in summer 2021. Again, as Vida mentioned previously, it's not a big deal. Again, we hope that everybody would be able to go in the co-op, to qualify and go in the co-op in the summer. But it's not a big deal if you don't, for one reason or another, because in the program you have 5, 6 opportunities for co-op. You only need to complete 3 of these to get your software engineering with co-op degree. So if you have questions, again, on these, leave them or at least be a little bit more, a little bit patient till Thursday, and we'll have a full course to talk about that.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. There's so many good questions in the chat. I'm sorry if we don't get to all of them. There's quite a few that fall on the criteria, what you need, what type of calculator, what type of textbooks, and so on. All of this information from any of the questions that you have, it depends on the individual professor teaching your course. They will share this information with you in the form that they find appropriate. But the only basically 2 ways the professors can communicate with you is either via university or whatever email or is your job right now. And probably one of the main difficulties and differences compared to the normal school year is in order to be informed and on top of things, you have to be a little bit more active, but just a little bit. By that, title, make sure that you go on Brightspace and also read all the announcements and everything that professors put there. Because in regular in-person classes, you can be a little bit more passive, just show up in class. All you need to know is show up in class, and then you still have to be active. You have to listen what is said in the class. So it's on you to make sure, as I said, don't worry if you still don't have information about your class. It's very typical for professors to give information just moments before the class or the day before the class, when the class is, which form is going to be delivered, check your mail, check Brightspace. Okay, which format midterms are going to be, which format exams are going to be. There's so many questions of that format. The answer to all of these questions is depends on the professor. It depends on your course. All of this information will be communicated to you. Will there be labs? Yes. If the labs are in your zone, you log in and your course has a lab component, you're going to have a lab component. But what format is going to take, again, it depends on your professors. If information will be communicated to you by the professors and or TAs in your class. So again, for many questions that you're asking, the answer will be, or maybe it's already, if professors are ahead of time, maybe it's already communicated ahead of time.
Maybe
Amy, do you have something you would like to add, or Jean-Loup?
Maybe I can translate some part of what you said in French, because I think it's very important. Alors peut-être pour traduire un peu ce que Vida vient de vous expliquer. Alors, certains d'entre vous n'avaient pas encore reçu l'information par rapport à certains cours. Peut-être que vous n'avez pas reçu d'informations par rapport au manuel que vous devez utiliser, le format du cours, les informations plus spécifiques. Alors, chaque professeur va communiquer avec vous en temps et lieu pour vous donner les informations pertinentes pour votre cours. Il ne faut pas s'inquiéter si vous n'avez pas reçu ces informations-là encore. Les professeurs, on est habitués de donner toute l'information relative à un cours lors du premier cours en classe. Évidemment, il n'y aura pas de cours en classe cet automne. Ça va se faire via Brightspace ou Microsoft Teams ou Adobe Connect. Mais donc, dans les prochains jours, vous allez recevoir de l'information de chacun de vos professeurs qui vont vous expliquer comment fonctionner pour le cours en question. Ce que vous devez faire, c'est vous assurer que vous avez accès à vos courriels de l'Université d'Ottawa. Prenez vos courriels de l'Université d'Ottawa régulièrement. Ça va être la façon, je dirais, principale de communiquer cet automne. Assurez-vous que vous avez tous vos accès. Habituellement, c'est possible pour vous de simplement vous présenter en classe puis de voir qu'est-ce qui se passe autour pour vous assurer d'être au courant des examens, puis des labs, puis des devoirs et tout et tout. Peut-être cet automne, il faudra que vous soyez un petit peu plus proactif qu'à l'habitude. Allez voir régulièrement vos courriels, allez voir régulièrement sur Brightspace quelles sont les annonces. Donc, soyez un petit peu plus proactif pour être certain de ne pas manquer d'informations importantes. Les labs, les examens, les manuels, les devoirs, chaque professeur va vous donner ses propres instructions pour le fonctionnement, pour le déroulement de votre cours. Merci.
Amy, would you like to add something? Do you have answers to any of the questions that you would like to answer of students?
I just wanted to, so I missed some, so maybe I've missed some of this, but I just wanted to address you're absolutely right that you get all your information specific to your course from your professors, but there are several questions about, I'm on the waiting list, I don't have, I'm not in the course yet. So normally, as you were saying in other times, you would go to class anyway and talk to the professor. So I'm going to leave that to you, Vita, to answer that. But I'm going to also say, after this information session, if you have such questions, write to that email that Vita has entered. That is the undergraduate office. The video that Vita has been available, that Vita has done before this. All the information about the undergrad office is there, about their website. There's lots of information there. So go there, and then maybe you can say something more, Vita, about what they should do. Can they contact the professor in advance if they're not in the course yet?
All right, thank you. I mean, very good point. Something, of course, you're coming from outside and it's not obvious to you whom to ask the questions. And this will be an issue even if you are at university in person. When it comes to any issues of enrollment, of registration, of changing programs, which I see to what course you can and cannot register for, all of this, your first point of contact is undergraduate office. They have a whole team whose job is to do exactly that. For that reason, I put down their email address in the chat. So if you really have some concrete question, like I see here, I'm on the waiting list, will I be dropped from the course that I'm not in the waiting list? Please check with the undergraduate office. This is their job. In fact, us professors, even sometimes students email say, please let me in your session. I have no means to let anybody in my session. I couldn't let myself in the session. They put me in the session. So all of this is done by the undergraduate office. When I'm saying you look for the information from the professors, that is about a specific course that that professor teaches. And why am I insisting on this? It's not that people don't want to do work, but just to give you an example, I'm going to have about 500 students. If each one of you thinks I will send her just one email, there will be 500 emails. It's impossible to answer. So all I'm saying is that when it comes to undergraduate in research questions, you contact the undergraduate office. When it comes to a particular course, you wait for the information from the professor and look for the information either on Brightspace or on the or from the email that is sent to all the students. Actually, when it comes to that, I would like to point out, we would like to make sure that all the professors, all the students have access to the professors and TAs, almost as if they have one-on-one classes and office hours and so on. For that reason, even in big classes such as ITI 1120 that all of you are taking, many professors, including myself, I will set up a forum where you should ask the question. I will even let you ask questions anonymously. You should ask any question about the course, about assignments, about the exams, and usually within a couple of hours, you will have answer from me. So you can still have one-on-one conversation, but the plus is instead of getting 100 same questions in an email, you're gonna ask question once and everybody else, I'm gonna answer it, and then all the other students get to see the answer. So we're all gonna try to do our best to give you access when it comes to teaching, to individual professors teaching the course. When it comes to your questions about registration, co-op, you go and get help from that particular organization. And right now we have the director of the whole school. I would like to invite him to introduce himself and say a few words to you. Claude, please unmute yourself. Maybe you cannot. If we have a technical person who is, maybe I can ask to unmute.
No, it's done. You should be able to unmute now.
Okay, you should be able now, Claude, to unmute yourself.
There we go. I was actually typing saying you have to invite me to unmute. I pushed unmute about 6 times. It kept saying no. Okay, so I figured Vita is being tough on everybody. Now you're muted, so bonjour tout le monde. Hi everybody. Sorry I'm late. I'm not actually late. I was in the other meeting with electrical and computer engineering. J'étais dans la réunion avec génie électrique et génie informatique. Et je suis là pour répondre à vos questions. Je suis directeur de l'école de sciences informatiques et génie électrique. Ça fait 21 ans. Je suis prof à l'Université d'Ottawa. I've been here for about 21 years. I'm the director of the School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. I did all my degrees here, all in electrical engineering. So I have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD. I got those degrees in the year started with 1 and 9, so it's been a while. I'm happy to see everyone here. And again, if you have any questions or if anyone ever needs to contact me, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Okay, and I'm here to answer questions too if anyone has anything. So please ask away. So I'll turn the microphone back to Vita. If you can let Vita unmute herself again, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Claude. So let's continue with the questions that we have from the students. Some of you are asking if you can go directly into the ITI 1121, which is a Java course. And the answer is no, you have to first have the prerequisite. And if you heard students that the students joined that class, it must be because they have ITI 1120 already in some form. Many questions in the chat are talking about how you get good average, how you maintain 80% average in the course. These should be these kind of logical things that you can imagine. And the main one for now is not to fall behind. Jean-Loup gave you some sort of estimate what type of hours you can expect. And really, if it's 3 hours of lectures, 3 hours of labs, and you double that just to absorb material, study it, and do a little bit of assignments in your work, that's already 12 hours per course. If you're taking 5, which most of you are, it's about 60 hours a week. So just compare that to 40 hours, not to scare you, just if you fall, it's so easy the first couple of weeks, I'm just gonna relax and not do it, but then you're 120 hours behind, because it's more than the working hours of us. We are paid for 40 hours. It seems like you expected to do 60, but hopefully it's not that much, but I think it's not very far. You can do your own estimate of that. So just try not to fall behind, try to stay informed, try to stay motivated. That's one of the biggest things I see a difference in the student, the motivation. When you feel stuck, please go get help. There's so much help that university provides for you. Each professor, first of all, is going to do their best to have office hours where you can come into the office hours. For example, I'll hold live office hours. You just join the office hour and ask me any question on anything you don't understand. Every single teaching assistant I have will be doing the same thing. They will be holding office hours, whether you show up or not. They're going to hold office hours. They're paid there, so you can have free consultation. This is part of the tuition that you paid. So you have help from the professors, from the teaching assistant. Even without that, the faculty, so this is what professors do on their side, but then the faculty does extra by providing this mentoring center, where again, every week on specific hours, you're going to have help, somebody available to help with the material and organize study group for all the mandatory courses. These are undergraduate students, so your peers. So if you feel shy, that may be another venue for you to get help. The undergraduate students are running this. And typically students who did great in a particular course. So for example, for ITI 1120, there will be a student who did great in a course in previous year, undergraduate students that are going to be there every week to help you with studying, to answer your questions. So don't fall behind. Take advantage of all the resources, that there are many that are available for you. Do your part, of course, study, do the assignments, follow the deadlines, and then you are really increasing your chances to get the not only pass, but get the grades that you want, which most of you are asking in the chat is, how do I get 80% above? How do I get 70% above so that I can stay in co-op, so I can get good jobs, and so on? Which reminds me of one question that I saw: will I be prepared for a first year co-op? So a software engineering student that we have in the chat, they will do co-op already after their first year. And the question was whether you're going to be prepared. So already after your first year, in your first semester, you're going to develop proficiency of designing solutions to computational problems, and you're going to be implementing them in Python. In your second semester, you're going to expand that and do more difficult projects, and you're going to do them in Java. So already after the first year, you are very likely to be in a good position to contribute and do the computer science and software engineering related jobs after your first year. Even the students who are not in software engineering, many manage to find their own computer science related jobs in after their first year, although it's not mandatory, although it's not a part of the co-op. Okay, so because I was talking, I wasn't reading the chat and the questions, so maybe Jean-Loup or one of the professor present who read the question can take over a question if they notice something they would like answered. Okay, then I can continue. I wrote some of them down. And this is probably a good one for Stefan. And it's a good question, I think, and a worry for many software engineering students. It is, what will happen if we don't maintain the minimum GPA and we are in software engineering program where the co-op is mandatory?
The minimum GPA for getting into co-op work term. I mean, there are several aspects to this question. First one is what's happened because in order to get to the first job term in this summer, you have to maintain at least a GPA of 5 out of 10 for your courses that you'll be taking the first fall term. Okay. 5 out of 10 is not a big, no, it's supposed, it's generally, it's like the middle. It's not a big.
It's B minus, right?
Yeah, it's B minus. It's yeah, exactly. It's B minus. So this shouldn't be a difficult thing. But if you don't for the first term, that's fine. Because as I mentioned previously, even if you don't go in co-op this summer, you still have 5 other opportunities to land 3 co-op jobs and get your degree. Now, if you cannot maintain a GPA of 5 for any other program at Ottawa U, including software engineering, you are in trouble because you cannot graduate with a GPA that is less than the minimum. And the minimum for the program is 5, and for a lot of other programs, it's 5 too. Okay, so in any case, it's not anything. It's not even just. It's just the minimum GPA that you need to graduate to get a degree at Ottawa U. Yeah. So, and this is the minimum that you need to get to obtain a co-op job. So I'll say with minimum effort, by taking the time to do the work, by organizing yourself, this shouldn't be a problem.
Alors, quelqu'un demande, que puis-je faire si certains de mes cours ne figurent pas sur mon horaire et sur Brightspace? Alors, par exemple, j'enseigne un cours cet automne et je n'ai toujours pas configuré ma page Brightspace. Mon premier cours est jeudi et puis je prévois faire ça cet après-midi. Alors, ce n'est pas parce que vous ne voyez pas le cours sur Brightspace qu'il y aura un problème. Maintenant, si vous avez des doutes ou vous avez besoin d'aide, bien, évidemment, c'est toujours possible de contacter le bureau des études sous-graduées, le bureau du premier cycle, puis ils vont être capables de vous aider. Je vois aussi quelqu'un qui demande si on a des conseils pour les étudiants internationaux qui doivent gérer le décalage horaire. Bon, évidemment, la situation est est un défi pour tout le monde. Puis, pour les étudiants qui sont à l'étranger et qui doivent suivre l'horaire à l'heure d'Ottawa, c'est un défi de plus. J'ai pas de conseils extraordinaires pour vous. Vous devez faire votre possible pour suivre les contraintes qui sont présentes dans chaque cours. Chaque professeur va vous donner des instructions précises par rapport au fonctionnement des examens et des devoirs. À partir de là, ben, vous pourrez voir, il y a peut-être... je sais qu'il y a certains professeurs qui vont donner plus de latitude pour certains examens et certains devoirs. Donc, je n'ai pas de réponse parfaite pour cette question-là. Il faut travailler fort, puis faire votre possible pour suivre l'horaire à l'heure d'Ottawa.
Okay, I've seen another question from our international students, because many of you may be in different time zones. There was a question how to deal with the jet lag, and it's probably, I'm not sure I have a good answer to that. You have
This
to
is
figure
exactly
out
what I said in French. Yeah, there's no good answer to that.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sure.
No, that's good. So you're translating.
What I would do is figure out if you really like to sleep and you can switch to one time or another, you can take advantage of the fact that I believe most, especially first-year students, will record their lecture, and you're going to have recording. So if you have a discipline that you are sure that you will be watching recordings, then I would just choose that. If you can switch to Canadian time, you can try that. So it's the best that you try to figure out what works for yourself. As long, it should be completely fine, as long as you, again, on top of the material, if you can follow what's going on, if you do your assignments, if you're on top of the lectures, if you do your work, it really doesn't matter if you do it live. There is advantage live because it motivates you. Okay, I have to join now. It's much easier to fall back when you just have videos. Oh, I'll watch it today, I watch it tomorrow, and then you have 10 videos to watch. And it's probably not very easy. So you find your best way, you find your way to succeed in this model that we have, but it could be similar even if we are doing this in person. There was a question that actually I would like to answer. It was in French, so maybe after me you can answer, Jean-Loup. And the question is about that computer science and software engineering require a lot of practice, and how do you I'm going to copy paste. I'm going to copy paste it on the bottom so you can read it, Jean-Loup, as well, so I'm not translating incorrectly. I'm going to say, which I'm trying to say to all, if you ever talk to anybody who is good at programming and programs, they will tell you that they programmed a lot. And but on the other hand, it has, so the reason why we are here, why you are studying computer science in university and you didn't just take some night course and went off into the world, not that that's impossible, but the reason is that this is an actual science, that you're studying how to solve problems. So there are two aspects to it: solving a computational problem, so developing a way to solve problems, which in some ways can be a little bit similar to math. It's similar to asking, how do you solve a problem in math? You solve many, you develop intuition, except that in addition, computer science has an aspect, even once you solve the problem on the paper, in English, in your head, when you know the steps of the solution, you have to translate it into a language the computer understands, and that again requires practice. So just do all the labs, programming labs that the professors give you. Open the textbook that I will recommend, has many programs. The more you program, the more likely you are going to develop the skills to program and be good at it, and you're more likely to enjoy it. It's very difficult to enjoy something that you are not good at, right? So I really suggest to you, and not get frustrated, start with an easiest problem, then a little bit more difficult, a little bit more difficult. You do lots of problems, you're gonna gain confidence, you're gonna start enjoying it more. So try to solve and program as much time as you can, even find some fun, if you like, on the side, or a suggestion from your professors or TA for the type of programming you should do. Please, Jean-Loup, because the question was
Oui.
in French, actually.
Alors, je vais essayer de traduire. Alors,
Oh, you don't have to
essentiellement...
translate. You don't have to translate. You
Yeah.
can give your own version.
Essentiellement, c'est quelque chose que j'ai mentionné un peu plus tôt, c'est de mettre du temps sur les cours que vous suivez, mettre du temps sur les labs, mettre du temps sur la programmation. Alors, en informatique, dans plusieurs des cours que vous allez suivre, vous allez devoir résoudre des problèmes. Puis, dans certains cas, ça peut ressembler un peu aux problèmes que vous avez à résoudre dans certains cours de mathématiques. Maintenant, quand on pense à un cours de programmation, il y a un aspect supplémentaire, c'est-à-dire qu'on peut réussir à résoudre un problème sur papier, être capable d'expliquer comment résoudre le problème, mais ensuite, on doit traduire tout ça en code. Alors, on doit s'asseoir puis s'assurer d'être capable de programmer l'idée ou l'algorithme ou la stratégie à laquelle on a pensé. On doit être capable de la programmer en code, en Python, en Java, peu importe quel est votre langage de programmation préféré. Ça aussi, ça demande du temps. Alors, plus vous allez mettre de temps et plus vous allez travailler sur une base régulière sur les exercices et sur les programmes que vous avez à faire, plus vous allez devenir bon. Et puis, c'est la meilleure façon de tirer profit de tous vos cours. C'est la meilleure façon d'avoir du plaisir à faire de la programmation. Ultimement, on espère que vous allez aimer programmer. De votre côté, ce que vous pouvez faire, c'est ça, c'est de mettre du temps et de travailler sur une base régulière.
Can I just emphasize?
Any other questions that? Yes, please, please.
So it's already been said, but I think it's very important. If your professor does offer the lectures synchronously, that is during the time of the lecture, and you can go, please do go. That will, especially as students transitioning to university, it will provide structure that in normal times you would have. So just as Vida said, you don't get behind with watching the lectures, and it also allows you to interact. The professor often will have an interactive chat just like this. It really helps with the learning and keeping up. Of course, it's not a one-size-fits-all. International students, it's harder, so you have to figure out for yourselves what's best. That's all.
Yes, thank you. I mean, even for some adults, let's say us professors, I have 2 watch seminars that I've been wanting to watch for the last month. They're sitting there, open tab, waiting for me to watch, just to try not to fool yourself. I'll do it tomorrow. So I think live lecture is the offer. I completely agree with Amy. It's going to help you with this discipline. There were actually already questions on the side about how do I discipline myself. I think that really helps to pretend that you're at university, if as much as you can, and join the lectures. And again, the huge plus is being able to ask the questions. Already in the tutorial that I had a week ago, there were so many questions in the chat. You are a generation that grew up with the chat, and we can see that you are very comfortable asking questions in the chat. So this is your tool. Think of it as a plus for you in this strange COVID time, that at least you get to ask during the class, you get to ask the question in the chat, because in the class, normally, even if there's 100 and more students, it's usually a couple of arms that go up, always asking the questions. And I see already that many more students are asking questions in the chat. So this is a chance for you to be more interactive and to stay disciplined by attending live courses. So yes, I would like to agree with Amy on this too.
I will say some words in French.
Has anybody, please do, please.
Yeah, alors Amy puis Vida nous disait que une bonne façon de se discipliner puis d'avoir un bon horaire de travail, c'est d'assister. Alors, toutes les présentations qui sont faites dans vos cours, qui sont faites de façon synchrone, en temps réel, vous devriez, si possible, y assister. C'est une bonne façon pour vous de suivre, de vous établir une discipline de travail. Alors, essayez le plus possible de faire comme si on était en classe et qu'on avait réellement un horaire à suivre. C'est beaucoup plus facile de travailler de cette façon-là. Vous avez l'avantage d'être une génération qui est beaucoup sur les réseaux sociaux, puis qui est très à l'aise à poser des questions, puis à discuter sur les forums, puis sur les chats. Alors, en ce temps de crise, de virus, de COVID, peut-être c'est une chose de laquelle vous pouvez tirer profit. Alors, soyez toujours présents lorsque c'est possible pour les présentations qui sont live. Parce que si vous dites toujours « Ah, je vais attendre, puis je vais regarder le vidéo plus tard », alors rapidement, vous allez vous accumuler énormément de vidéos et de cours à écouter, puis vous allez perdre le fil, vous allez accumuler du retard.
Thank you, Jean-Loup. Any other professors? Would you like to answer any of the questions in the chat? I can continue. I'm just wondering if somebody would like to take over. Okay, so let me look at one actually that maybe Claude or Amy know the answer to, because I actually don't. It says, why are CS students not allowed to take CS and math electives? Amy, Claude, do you know the answer to that question?
I'll let Amy answer that. But,
this is my chance to say that I am new at this position of Associate Director for Computer Science. And so this is one where I would go to the undergrad office or to my predecessor, who is Carlisle Adams. And so if you've watched Vita's video, you've seen him as the Associate Director. He's actually coming back next year. So he's an important person, contact person. Ask the undergrad office. If they don't know, they will ask me and I will find out.
Okay, I was waiting for Claude to take over, but since it's not happening, I can guess.
I suspect it has to do with the number of credits that are allowed in different subdomains.
Yeah, my guess is that if you want to take courses in a similar discipline, that you should make it a major, or sorry, another minor, because you're already doing honors probably, or a major in computer science. If you're taking courses in a very similar discipline, they allow you to do that if it's going to be your minor or double degree. Otherwise, they want you to expand and take courses in other disciplines, humanities, arts, social sciences, and so on. That's my guess for the motivation. There must be some motivation behind that decision.
There is a joint program with math too, right? There's a couple of joint programs with math where students can get 2 degrees, a degree in computer science and a degree in math. One is a data science program and the other one is a general, I think it's the specialization computer science, specialization math joint. Data science is the same thing. It's the same number of credits and all that, but there's more, courses are more prescribed as opposed to the other one. But those are 5-year degree programs. But you get 2 bachelor degrees out of them.
That's right. So we have number of double degree programs, and typically these programs in these students in these programs typically do really great. But they have in their course sequence, they don't have as many electives, obviously, because they are following 2 degree program to some degree. Okay, there was another question. It's about co-op, and this one also we get often is, if we get a placement that is longer than a single term, could we implement that in the course sequence? It's my understanding, and Stefan probably knows more, that is possible, but that has to be approved by the co-op office. And I'm not exactly sure, is it possible in programs such as software engineering where where co-op is mandatory and they have to make sure that you're following the sequence of courses? Maybe it's possible, but in either case, this has to be proposed, or you approach the co-op office and they have to approve it. They can approve it, they do approve it, but that depends on the program and on the individual situation of the student.
Actually, software engineering is really flexible. It has a number of different pathways so that students can do that have 8-month terms or 12-month terms in co-op placement. The other programs are a little more difficult. Accepting an 8-month placement might make it difficult because you come back at a semester where the course that you need to take is not being offered. So at that point, that's why it's best to talk to your program coordinator to look at your options as to what you can do, especially if you're getting, let's say you're getting an 8-month placement at Google and it's just too good an opportunity to pass up. Well, then we'll work with you to try and figure out a way to minimize the disruption it might cause to your studies, but it might cause a disruption to your studies. So you have to take that into account.
Okay, thank you. And actually, it's related to another question that I've seen on the chat and I've seen in other places, is whether students can find their own jobs. And there was a specific example, oh, I have a company of my own. Can I work in my own company and count that as a co-op? So the students can find their own jobs. But the thing is, the co-op jobs, unlike just any internships, they are part of your education. They're part of your degree. So they have to be related to your field of study. So the co-op office has to approve that job. So you make a proposal, you find a job, you take it to the co-op office. If it's related, if they see that this is a good part, a good training for your field of study, in that case, they will probably prove it. Otherwise, they'll give you a reason why that works or doesn't work. But yes, you can, and the students do find their own jobs, including in these companies such as Google and Apple and Facebook's, these kind of hot jobs that all the students want. So it's possible to find these jobs by yourself, go after them yourself, or with the help of co-op also. So we have 2 minutes to the end. We started on time, so let's try to end on time. So in the last 2 minutes, let me see if any of the present professors have anything that they would like to add. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck. I will see many of you tomorrow in our first lecture. And again, even if you haven't received any information about your courses, do not worry. Check your email, check Brightspace. Information will come about each of the courses you have before your first class. All right, so thank you all. A technical person can end the meeting.
Absolutely. Have a nice day.
Actually, I just want to jump in and say one last thing, because I saw a student, he asked a question. Physics.
Go ahead, please.
Physics 1721, physics 1731, physics 1721 or 1731. You take 1731 or 1530 or I think 1331 if you didn't take 4U physics. So if you don't have high school physics, you take the 31. If you do have high school physics, you take the 21. Right, Stefan?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, I saw it in the chat, and I said I think that one's the high school one. I thought I'd check as I was checking, as Vita was asking if we had anything to add. Okay, that's it. Any other questions?
Thank
you have my email address. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, all of
Bye-bye.
us. When you ask what is our email address, you just Google it. You'll find all our email addresses. Okay, bye everybody.
Merci. Bye bye.